Right guys, I've got an ambitious August TBR and I don't even think this is the half of it, but let's talk about some of the books I'm going to read and what I hope to read in August. Hi, Kate here, better known as Reading with Katie Louise over on TikTok and Instagram. Welcome back to my channel, and I am here to bring you my August hopefuls and probably talk a bit about what I've already read in August. Now, the pile was substantially large to start with, and that's not even half of what I've already read. So I am recording this on the 6th of August. I am a little bit behind. It's taken me a while to get back into BookTube. It has been a minute, guys. If you're not up to date, I suffered severely with morning sickness to the point that my socials just came to a complete standstill for like 6 weeks. I couldn't record, I couldn't even get out of bed some days. So yeah, I'm back, I'm better, and I am very excited to get stuck into BookTube. It's not going to be at the consistency I was doing before. I just do not have capacity to do that anymore. But I definitely still want to bring you my August TBR, my general wrap-ups and everything else. But let's get into it. So as I've said, we are 6 days into August and I am off work for the whole month of August, having working in a school. So I have already read a few books. So the first few books are books I've already read. But yeah, the original plan is to actually tackle my May TBR, as I didn't read all of them as I started feeling ill. So the first book I'm going to talk about is Forget Me Not by MJ Arledge. So this was the first book I actually read in August, so it wasn't on my TBR initially, but I wanted something fast paced to get me back into reading. So this is book 12 of the D.I. Helen Gray series. There are currently 13 out and released. However, book 13 is a hardback, so I will not be purchasing that until it's a paperback. That being said, this one follows D.I. Helen Grace as she's working on a case where a child has been shot by a gang, but then at the same time a mum comes to her really upset that her daughter, who's been homeless for a few weeks, basically has gone missing. So she's working both cases, but we do focus primarily on the girl and trying to find her. This was fast-paced and wild. I ended up reading half of this in one sitting. I cannot begin to explain to you how good this book was. I'm not going to talk about ratings because this is a TBR video, but oh my goodness, what an explosive start to the month. Now, in an attempt to tackle all the arcs that I accepted for May and June, which I did not get read, having not read for those 2 months, I did pick up in audio Julia Tudor Is Not a Psychopath. Now, I'm not talking about ratings, but this I am glad I picked up in audio. Probably would have been a DNF had I not. But it was a very quirky book. Julia Tudor is certainly a quirky character. It basically follows her as she has a crush on one of her co-workers and other women keep getting in the way. I'm not going to say any more than that, but it was definitely a humorous book. But yeah, I'll explain more in my reading wrap-up at the end of the month, but yeah, that is my view, and yeah, it was an act ticked off the list. Another very unexpected addition to my TBR was The Appeal by Janice Hallett. Now, again, we are still on books I've read, and I am aware that I am firing through books this month. This is very much normally the case in August. The Appeal was Janice Hallett was someone who was recommended to me by several of my BookToker friends, and so I decided to give her a go. I went to my local library, hence no physical copy, and honestly, I read it really quickly. I did read a good 300 pages of that maybe in one sitting. It's quick, easy, it's mixed media, and it basically follows someone is murdered, there are 15 suspects, and 2 people are trying to solve it before the case goes to trial. They believe the wrong person is being prosecuted. Now, the only issue I had with this book was that you don't find out who has been murdered until like 270 pages in. It doesn't take away from the book as such, but as a crime girly through and through, this probably was more cosy mystery rather than crime thriller. But that was book 3, and the last of the books I want to talk about that I've actually read. All the books now that I'm on to, I am currently reading or I'm going to hopefully read in August. So my current read is The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. Now this was on my May TBR. This basically follows a woman who gets a phone call from her niece, and she is basically saying that her friend has been unalive quite brutally. And yeah, I am halfway through at this point, read halfway. I did this in the sprints that I've been doing over on TikTok, and I did do this in my 3-hour live. I would say one sitting, but obviously I do 20 minutes, 10 minutes, you get the drift. Yeah, so I'm halfway through, that's all I'm going to say. It was on my May TBR, I did put it out of the TBR jar. It is my current read, and I do intend to finish this pretty imminently. But yeah, another thriller. I am very much a crime and thriller at the moment. That has become my comfort genre recently. But yeah, so The Maidens is definitely on my TBR, and I will hopefully be getting this finished in the next day or 2. Now, I don't think it would be a TBR video if I didn't mention book club, and that is Wandering Stars by Tommy Orange. Now, quite sadly, this is the last official book club pick, so we are still doing the book club picks, but they're not going to be over on TikTok and as like out there as they were before. So I want to make a point of joining in. I haven't joined in for a few months. I haven't actually read anything on this book at all, so I have no idea what I'm going into. It is a relatively short read and we are reading it over a 4-week period, so I am looking forward to getting stuck into a book. As much as I don't know much about it, I am excited. The cover really intrigues me. It proper pops, and I noticed it straight away in the library, as you can tell by the reflection on it. But yeah, that is the book club pick for August, so obviously I'm going to give that a go. So in an attempt to try and get back into reading, I did pick up Our Little Cruelties by Liz Nugent. This was on my May TBR and I did attempt to pick it up in June. However, it was not catching me, so I am going to start again now I'm back in my reading era. I am in an attempt, I'm trying to read Liz Nugent's backlist. She has 5 releases. I absolutely adored Strange Sally Diamond. I believe Our Little Cruelties follows 3 brothers. One of them is in the coffin, so that is, yeah, I do remember now. 3 brothers are at a funeral, one lies in the coffin. Will, Brian and Luke grow up competing for their mother's unequal love. So I am going to attempt to read this again. I did get a good way through the first time, so it's not like I couldn't do it. So I am going to pick this up. I do have it on Kindle as well, so yeah. That is probably going to be my next read just because I'm already into it. But yeah, that was on my May TBR and is going to be on my August TBR. You can see a theme arising here. Now, I don't think it would be August if I didn't do a readathon and a buddy read. So I always tend to try and fit in a sort of 8-9 hour readathon over on TikTok, and I will be hopefully reading Mr. Wrong Number by Lynn Painter. Now, I've always intended to read this with my friend Amelia. You will have seen a previous video of us doing a readathon together, and we always read a Lynn Painter. Now, this was intended to be read back in, I think it was April. And then it actually came out of my TBR jar in May. So this is book 1 in the series. So I've already read book 2. I didn't realise it was a series, and I'd read The Love Wager. So we always planned to read this. So when it came out of my TBR jar in May, I planned at the end of May to do a readathon with her to read it. However, that didn't happen. So in August, I intend to do the same thing. This follows Olivia Marshall, who is always followed by bad luck, basically. And when a "what are you wearing" text from a random number turns out into the hottest, most entertaining relationship of her life, she thinks things might be looking up. Wrong number, right place maybe? Who knows? Carrying on with the May TBR theme, I did pick up The Catch by T.M. Logan, and T.M. Logan is fast becoming an author I really enjoy reading. I have read a few. The Curfew was a 5-star read for me. I've read The Holiday, though realised holiday thrillers are not my thing. And yeah, The Catch was the next one to pull out. I was so kindly gifted this, and I am trying to build my T.M. Logan collection, so I am intending to pick this up. Now, I was hoping that it was on KU because I do know some of T.M. Logan's art, and I'm very much in my Kindle era at the moment, which is why I'm giving myself a bit of scope with this TBR. But yeah. So Ed finally meets his daughter's boyfriend for the first time. Smart, successful and handsome, Ryan appears to be the real catch. Then Abby announces their plan to get married. There's just one problem. Ed thinks Ryan is lying to them. Intriguing. It looks summery, so I feel like it is maybe more fitting to read in August. But yeah, that is the plan. I'm hoping this is a quick paced thriller because these are the books that I am really hooked on at the moment. Now, the last one that is part of my May TBR, which I will be picking up in August. I know it sounds weird me saying May TBR, but I did originally, and you will have seen the original video, pick these up for my May TBR and just never got to them, is The Breakdown by B.A. Paris. Now, I am on with a bit of an author backlist for a few. John Mars, B.A. Paris, Liz Nugent, T.M. Logan, M.J. Arledge. There's a few. So The Breakdown is another one. I was so kindly gifted these off TikTok Shop, so obviously I do want to talk about them. I have really enjoyed reading B.A. Paris. I have got quite a few in my bookcase. The Prisoner was a 5-star read. I recently read The Therapist, which I do not actually own. And I am looking forward to reading some of the others. B.A. Paris is a highly recommended thriller author, so I'm very much looking forward to getting stuck into it. It all started that night in the woods. Cass Anderson didn't stop to help the woman in the car, and now she's dead. I'm not going to read any more than that. I don't like to read blurbs too much. I do like to go into books blind, purely because, yeah, why wouldn't you? I just love the shock and twist in a book when you don't know what's happening. Now, these are all additions to my TBR. I had no intention of reading a lot in August, but my brain has pretty much gone into reading mode. So I am going to try and do a buddy read with a few of the guys over on TikTok and in my subscriber Discord, and that is Thunderhead by Neil Schusterman. I read Scythe a few months ago and it was an instant 5-star. You'll see that on my 5-star vlog. if I filmed it and recorded it and edited it, who knows, things went to pot back in May. But Thunderhead is book 2 in this series, and I adored Scythe. It was such an easy read, and I didn't expect that. It's not my usual genre, and yeah, so I am going to be buddy reading this with a few of the guys in the Discord and taking it to the TikTok live. But yeah, so I'm not going to read anything about it. I enjoyed book 1 going in blind, so I intend to go blind into book 2 too. On to audiobooks now, and I do intend to read The Strawberry Patch Pancake House by Laurie Gilmore. I do have a physical copy of this book, but I have listened to the majority of these in audio. I do like to have an audio on the go at the same time as a physical, but I do like to have 2 different genres going. So I have opted to make sure I've got a romance in there. This is book 4 of the Dream Harbour series, and yeah. Apparently this is the best one. I have enjoyed the others. I've been around the 4-star. Christmas Tree Farm was not quite it for me, so I am hoping that this is going to pick up. I did start this back in June, but my brain was not computing audiobooks, so I am going to start from scratch with this and start again because a girl needs to do that. Very excited to see where this goes. I love the covers on Laurie Gilmore's books, and I will probably continue the series. It's very much a palette cleanser in my opinion, so yeah, that is the plan. This is one of the audiobooks I intend to read. As I've said, I am trying to clear my arcs because I do not intend to take on any more. So the intention is to pick up The Wasp Trap by Mark Edwards. This did release at the end of July, so a lot of my arcs are no longer arcs technically because they are released. However, I have struggled to get hold of this book. So I have tried on KU, it was not available unlike the rest of Mark Edwards' books. I tried BookBeats, but you had to pay additional. It was not available on Spotify. I have tried every platform for this audiobook. I have fortunately found it thanks to Michaela, who is a fellow booktuber and booktalker, and she has a 90-day free trial for Audible, well, for Amazon Music Unlimited, which includes Audible. So I have got 1 book a month from that, and yeah. So I am going to be picking that up. I haven't actually read a Mark Edwards book, but I have heard he's very highly rated. He recently did signings with Steve Kavanagh, so if they're very similar, then I will be a very happy girly. So I am going to pick this up in audio just because I can't actually get hold of the physical anywhere. So yeah, that is the plan. I've read absolutely nothing on this book, so I can't even tell you what it's about, so you'll have to wait for the August reading wrap up for that. But yeah, I'm excited to get stuck into that one, and pretty much as soon as I finish The Maidens, I may very well try and pick it up. That is the plan anyway. Now the last book I am going to talk about physically is The Good Samaritan by John Mars. Now this was nowhere near anywhere on my TBR, however I have been going live on TikTok a lot over the past few days, and I let them pick, and apparently this comes highly recommended. The people who call the end of the line need hope. They need reassurance that life is worth living, but some are unlucky enough to get through to Laura. Laura doesn't want them to hope, she wants them to die. I've heard really good things. This particular copy as well is very floppy, so I might even read the physical, and it is on KU. I love John Mars. I've read What Lies Between Us, that was a 5-star rating. I've even lent that book out. I've read A Stranger in Our House. And yeah, I think that's as far as I've got with John Mars. I've read The Vacation as well. Some of them, I was going to build up a collection of his books. However, space is no longer an option. But yeah, had to get a John Mars in there. Very much looking forward to it. It was a pick from my TikTok friends, and yeah, that is why I'm excited to pick this one up. Now, there are other books I'll probably end up picking up, but the last one I have just remembered, I will be straight with you, is Out of the Woods by Kate Wiley. Now, I think the 4th book in this is the 4th book in the series. I've read all of these as arcs, so I was super excited when Storm Publishing gave me early access to this on NetGalley, so I will be picking this up. It releases August 20th. I've read nothing about it. I do believe it is the last book in the series though, so I'm very much excited to get stuck into that. I will be reading it probably in the next week or so, just because I can, and I do want to get through my backlog of arcs. Now, I think that leaves me with 1 arc, and I am going to listen to it on audio. I have downloaded it and ready to go, and for the life of me cannot remember the name of the book. I will put the graphic up on screen because I will obviously know when I'm on my computer editing this where it is and what it's called. But Six Murders of Daphne Sinclair, I think is what it's called. I will put it here. I got this out, it's meant to have released in June, and it did release in June, and yeah. So they're the last 2 arcs I want to wipe off. I want to finish August with a clean slate of arcs. I have been so busy reading other arcs that, yeah, I did want to bring you, yeah, I'm rambling, guys. But yeah, they're the books that I want to read in August, and I think that is where I'm going to leave it for now. I will probably read more but I don't want to put too much pressure on myself as I am only just getting back into reading. Now, I was going to do a July reading wrap up with this video, but then I realised how many books I picked out in August and I didn't want the video to be too long. However, if you want to see my July reading wrap up, it is over on my TikTok, has gone out on my TikTok and it hasn't gone out on my Instagram. But that's fine. It has gone out on my TikTok, guys. I'm still getting used to doing the socials. I am hopefully back in full swing. It may go quiet again in September, purely because I'm back at work again. But yeah, that is my August TBR. Please let me know if you've read any of these books in the comments, and if you have, what you thought of them, which ones I need to prioritise. And yeah, it's going to be a busy August month, but I don't have many plans, so I'm excited to get stuck into some of these books and just get lost in several different worlds. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me, guys. It's been a while and I appreciate anyone that stayed and stuck around while I've taken a little bit of a break. But yeah, as always, if you haven't already, click that like button and that subscribe button, and hopefully I'll see you all soon.